get involved was that I've been more vocal and more involved is that we live in a place, a political climate now that's very, it's just full of deceit and lies and false claims. Right. I mean, it's, we have a president who's, just a hot mess, when it comes to the claims he makes and the actions he does and things that I don't want my children to grow up to model his behavior. And, there's a lot of people on Facebook who want to, make, erroneous claims, and they want to, yell and argue. And I decided, I'm not gonna argue on Facebook. And so I thought, okay, well, how do I get involved? So I thought, how do I get involved? So, okay, well, I can get involved in my own city, and I can volunteer, and I can show up to meetings, and I can have a voice, and I can have a vote, and I can get connected. So through that's when I knew Randy from growing up, and that's when I heard he was going to run. And that's when I decided, okay, I'll support you. And I've been a little more active following things. I've gone to a couple city council meetings. I've taken more of an interest. And for me, it's because I have a 15-year-old daughter who's in the district, goes to Lloyd public school, 9-year-old son, and I want to see our city thrive. And I look at that whole area over by Super Bowl, and I don't see the word thrive. I look at the area over by Peacocks and Red Roof Inn, and I don't see thrive. But I see the potential of Erlanger. We're in a strategic location, 5 minutes from the airport. I can hop on 275, 75. I mean, we are crucial. We're right at the road from Florence. I mean, we've got everything that we need.
Yeah.
And I think
I would even argue that we're in the best spot. I mean,
yeah, it's great.
I would say not just in the state, but I mean in this entire region.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of it all right now.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. Yeah. So I think that there's definitely an opportunity to capitalize and develop. I actually have drafted a pretty big, not a plan, but like some big ideas. Some big ideas I've shared with Randy. I don't know whether or not he'll listen to any of them or not, but I would hope so. I've got some big ideas on what the city could be. There's no reason that this couldn't be the hub of a startup community. You know what I mean? Why not? Like, we're here. We're connected to Amazon. We're connected to all this stuff. This would be a great place for businesses to have a startup incubator. Mm-hmm. This would be a great place.
Well, there's a lot of people that are connected with Amazon as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of subsidiary businesses and stuff that are connected with them. I mean, kind of like Toyota and Toyota Bashoku.
Right. So my hope is, I'm gonna definitely be more involved. I have some ideas, and I hope that if you run for council, that you'll support proactive ideas that are less of whatever is happening in these business districts and more of good things. And keeping in mind all the things that make Erlanger great, like Lloyd High School and the public school system and the library and the parks and opportunities for those types of things. The city services, which are great and provide value. And so I want to be a part of encouraging those in a positive way, protecting the things that we love in the city, because we're not moving anywhere. We live on McAlpin for 15 years, and my kids are going to move out, and then we're going to have 2 extra rooms. So this idea of upgrading to the American dream of a bigger house is my generation. Gen Xers, I don't think are prescribing to as much, and surely not millennials.
Sure.
And Gen Z, they're the most fiscally responsible generation ever. Like my daughter's got more money than anybody just saved up because she's so again, I think most all of us want what's good for Erlanger, and so I hope that we can get to a place where we can push towards that and work towards that. I think Randy is a guy who has a lot of integrity. I think he will have the ability to lead and align people in that direction. And again, you got the votes. You won. You were elected, and you've done your job to lead the best as you see fit. And you've had some victories to claim along the way, and I think that's fine for us to celebrate those. let's just not create a culture where we talk about people and not support what we're talking about with either evidence or an actual point of view. So I think that would be my closing remarks. But I would encourage you to say, hey,
I appreciate that.
Critique people all you want. I'm all for it. That's the American way. If you want to give Randy a harsh critique or Jessica Fetty or any council member a harsh critique, totally acceptable. But I would put with it that which would mount as evidence for an argument so that people have context to the conversation. Otherwise, it just looks like you're frustrated and it looks like you're just running your mouth.
I appreciate
And so that's my 2 cents. And so, if you want to continue to post and challenge thinking, I think that's great. Like, that's your right. You should be able to do that. But, like, just give it a little more context so that everyone knows where it's coming from. Otherwise, you just look frustrated. And I think, you don't want that. You seem to be a reasonable guy. You seem to be successful. You guys have built a company. Like, I know what goes into that. So, that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
So, I appreciate you chatting and listening. And, we might not always agree, but I think that's okay. I mean, people don't agree all the time. It's fine. Like, we get that. I'm trying to teach my kids that. My daughter was wanting to be more active with the anti-gun movement and what's happening with the student uprising, which I think is awesome. I think 2 things. I think kids also need to be nicer to their friends at school. Like, do that. Like, hey, here's something you can do in addition to marching. Why don't you go sit with that kid you're making fun of? Like, that might solve a lot of problems.
Sure.
So, like, that needs to happen. But then also, I think it's great to see a younger generation get politically active. And so I encouraged my daughter, so she ended up using ResistBot. I don't know, you know about ResistBot? ResistBot's pretty cool. It's, from what I can tell, it's nonpartisan. It may have been developed by progressives, but it's nonpartisan because it's just a bot. So you essentially, like on Facebook Messenger, you can message ResistBot, or you can text him. And ResistBot will come to you, and he says, what district do you live in? You put in your zip code. He says, okay. And it dials up your representative. So Rand Paul, Mitch McConnell. And then he'll say, what would you like to say to your representatives? And in your text, you can send a letter. So it'll draft a letter. ResistBot, somewhere on the internet, puts on a header, the appropriate header that you have to get into get your letter read, and the appropriate closing. It fills in your words in the middle with what you want to say, has your information, and it automatically sends it and spits out a fax at Congress. And so within 30 seconds...
So it goes by your geolocation?
Yes. No, it goes by... if you go to... There's a... I'll email it to you.
You have to...
I'll email it to you. It's cool. And so...
You have to subscribe to it or something to that effect?
No,
so
you just text like a number, like 50239. And all of a sudden, this little robot pops up. He's like, hi, I'm ResistBot. And he's like, what would you like to share today? And you put in your thing. And so let's say you want to encourage, something you believe in or whatever, being fiscally responsible, whatever, or you're pro-gun or you're anti-gun, whatever it is you believe in. So you say, hey, Mr. Paul, I'd appreciate it if you would keep these things in mind, considering the current climate, da-da-da-da. And then it'll say, great, do you want to also publish this? Your post qualifies for an editorial. Would you like to publish it to your local newspapers? Text yes or no. Yes. And it just does it. It just generates it. So in 30 seconds, you can send your concerns to your elected officials. And so I've done several, and I've gotten letters back from McConnell and Rand Paul. Hey, thank you so much for reaching out. I understand your concerns. Here's some things. They're probably all form, or they may or may not be, but they're official response. So it works. And so I encouraged my daughter, and I said, look, activism's great. There's nothing better than to be connected with people who are aligned on a cause, trying to achieve something. I was like, that's cool. I said, but the way the system works is you have to work within the system. There's elected officials. You need to get your voice heard to the right people.
Right.
So I said, so why don't you write a letter? You can use ResistBot. And why don't you tell all your friends to write a letter? Because it's one thing to, walk out of school in solidarity on a school walkout. It's another thing when 300 letters print out at Mitch McConnell's office.
Right.
I was like,